Hello everyone, today I'm bringing you a review of these. Yes, it's a Bluetooth set of headphones and it's from MPow. These are the MPow H5 Headphones. And before I start getting into it, let's get you down to the wood top to see what you get in the box. So here's the box. As you can tell, it's kind of plain, nice white box, nothing really fancy. Gives you the model number, tells you it's wireless, and there's the MPow branding. And pretty much that's about it. It does give you a little bit of information or specifications on the back, and a little bit more here, and that's about it. So inside the box, and yes, I've already had this out for testing. You do get the headphones. Get a nice instruction manual, very easy to read and understand. You get a 3.5mm to 3.5mm cable, but what I like about this one is it's flat. It's not the typical round one, it's nice and flat, so it should help with the tangling problem. You also get a charging cable, USB on one side, micro USB on the other. Get that out of the picture. And last but not least, get a nice little carry pouch. It's very nice and soft on the inside and out to help protect your headphones. And you do get a little bit of a reminder card right here, okay? So let's get that out of the way. Let's get these out of the bag. There you go. That's the MPow H5 wireless headset. And as you've seen, they do fold up to be nice and small. There it is in my hand to give you some kind of a comparison. And on the inside, they are marked left and right. On the right hand side, you got the noise canceling button right there. You also get the 3.5mm port pinhole microphone. On the left hand side, another pinhole microphone, another pinhole microphone. Oh no, sorry, that's the LED light. That is the charging port. And here is your volume up and down buttons, here and here. Right in the center is the power button, also the mode button. Okay, and to turn it on, you simply press and hold the middle button. And there you go. Turn it off, once again, press and hold. And there you go, it's powered off. And you do get voice prompts, power on, power off, pairing, connected, and disconnected. So that's pretty nice that they give you a voice prompt on that. Also, a long press. To skip a track, you do a long press on either the volume up or down button. To pause it, you simply press the mode button here in the center. Same thing about taking a call. Now, normally I don't like taking phone calls with headphones, but I took a phone call with these just to see what it'd be like. The microphone, or first off, let me say, the sound through the ear cups themselves from the caller was nice and clean and clear. The microphone on these aren't as great as what's on a smartphone. According to the person that I was talking to, I sounded a little bit, how shall we say, they said shallow actually, but what they meant is a little bit on the high end side, a little tinny, not enough bass in my voice. So, but you know what, it gets the job done, and really the whole idea for these is for you to enjoy your music. You do get 40mm drivers on the inside here. This is not real leather on the cushioning, but they are nice, soft, and supple. They are nice and comfortable. You do get minimal padding here in the headband. And this actually has kind of like a rubberized feel to it, so it's really nice and soft to the touch. The sides here are very high gloss black, as you can see. They are a tiny bit of a finger magnet. As you see, if you really look, you'll see the fingerprints, but it does do a nice job at hiding fingerprints as well. I don't know what kind of finish they put on it, but as you can see, I'm touching it all over, and can barely see. I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but I can barely see any fingerprints. Let me do this for you. Okay. So let me put my big old thumb right there. Well, that one you can kind of definitely see on the camera. But it's not too bad. Not like some of those other shiny black ones where it's really predominant. Takes 2 hours to charge them. And I'll explain more in just a little bit. But that's what you get in the box of the MPow H5 headset. So let's get into these. These are obviously the MPow H5 wireless headsets. Now, one of the first things you're going to notice is, like I said, they only rotate in one direction, not both. Okay, that's fine. And then the tilting axis here, you got a really good amount of action in there, so you should be able to find that sweet spot for it to fit on your head. Of course, it seems like minimal padding here, but that never bothered me any. Quite honestly, when I put them on, they're so lightweight that it is kind of easy for me to forget that they're there. And one thing I would like to show you now, that's why I didn't do it on the wood top, I'd rather show you here. But on this side, with the 3.5mm jack port, if you turn that on, you see the little green light. Let me get it in closer for you. The little green light right there. That tells you the noise canceling function is turned on. When you flip the button, it shuts off. And of course, you only get 3 buttons here, plus the charging. Now, this is the main power on and off button, and it's also your mode button. These two are your volume control buttons, plus your track skip. Okay? I kind of like having the minimal amount of buttons on here instead of you searching all over what side is the volume, what side is the track skip, or so I kind of like that idea that MPow did that, where each button is a multi-function button. One of the other cool things I do like about this is there is voice prompts on this. Let me come a little closer and see if I can't get my camera microphones to pick it up.
Power on. Power off.
I'm hoping the camera microphones really picked it up. But it does say power on, power off with a voice prompt. And it also does things like pairing and connected and disconnected. You'll also hear that as a voice prompt. When you're pressing the button to turn it up all the way or down all the way, there's no voice prompt, but you're hearing an audible beep, which is really nice too. Because sometimes especially on some of the budget end headphones, they don't give you even a beep. You just gotta, okay, I pressed it long enough, it's not getting any louder, and blah blah blah. So it's nice that they at least give you the beep. Now on these, I would say I kind of have a big head. Maybe not an extra large head or anything of that nature, but I do got a fairly large head. And when I put them on, they do tend to squeeze a little bit. I shouldn't say squeeze. It's a nice, firm hold that I'm feeling, especially right now, on my head. It doesn't feel like if I do one of these, it's going to slip off, or if I have a sudden jerking motion that they're going to fall off. So they do feel really secure on my head. And one thing I want to tell you about that, when I first got these in from MPow, when I first tried them on, it was a little tight. A little tighter than they are now. So they have loosened a little bit since I've been testing these, and I've had these now for about, I believe it's 2 weeks, or almost 2 weeks, and I've been wearing them on and off for those 2 weeks, and they have loosened up, you know, a little bit on there, so they're not really pressing really hard on my head. But if you have maybe a really large head, they may be a little bit of a problem to you, or for you. But for me, I kind of like that snug fit on my head. For 2 reasons. One, it makes me feel better knowing that they're not going to accidentally slip off. And 2, it means I'm getting a nice connection to my head with the ear cups. And that alone cuts out a lot of the surrounding noise around me. So there's no really outside noise leaking in with that snug fit. So let's get into the noise canceling function of these headphones. Well, for the price you're paying, the noise canceling is really fantastic. It doesn't cut out completely everything from the outside world, but it cuts down so much that while you're listening to music, even at a lower level, you're going to be hard pressed to really hear what's going on around you on the outside. Don't expect noise canceling function like you would from anywhere from $100 to a $300 or more set of headphones. It's not going to deliver that kind of functionality. But for the price, the noise canceling on these really surprised me, impressed me, and it is phenomenal. I think you're going to enjoy them. Let's move on to sound quality. Without the noise canceling, to my ears, these are a little bass heavy. More on the almost in the muddy or muffled range. What I mean by that is the high end really wasn't there, and the mid range really was a little bit lower than the bass frequency response on these. So it kind of almost was a bit muddy, almost, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, because when I listened to Chopin and Tchaikovsky or Mozart or even Liszt, that EQ, just the standard sound quality or performance of these, worked beautifully. I mean, listening to the classical music, these were fantastic. Moving over more into the blues, I hate to say it, the same thing. The blues, this reproduced it beautifully. Where I started noticing just a tiny bit of that muddiness was when I was listening to, you know, things like hard rock or my favorite, heavy metal. But just not any old heavy metal type music, you know, the real quick fast stuff like Megadeth, you know. When the music really started getting busy, that's when you would notice a little bit more of the muddiness to these, okay? I'm not really into rap, but when I listened to Parliament, Bootsy Collins, you know, all that good stuff, Sly and the Family Stone, the mix was beautiful through these, okay? That's the standard. That's what the ANC turned off. When I turned the active noise canceling function on, that was like a brand new day. Whole new sound comes literally out of these things. Not only did it immediately cut down a ton of the outside and surrounding noise, and I was even using these and testing them while my neighbor was, believe it or not, still cutting his grass out there. I don't know why when it's this cold and we already had snow, but they were out there cutting their lawn, and I barely heard them. I don't know what type of EQ MPow put on here for the active noise canceling, but that pretty much the mid-range and the high ends got boosted way up without affecting the bass. Well, wait a minute. Actually, the bass did come down a little bit, but not that much. But it really did make everything seem crisp and clear once the ANC was turned on. I still got some good thumps coming out of the bass, some really nice good low ends. The mid-range was beautiful. It punched through the mix like it should. The high end, there was no tinny sound or bright sounding stuff or no ear-piercing high ends. It was just right on the money. I was kind of torn between which way I want to listen, with the ANC off or with it on. But that kind of depended upon what style of music I wanted to listen to. I found seriously when I was listening to my classical stuff or even swing music like big band, Benny Goodman and Glenn Miller, I would leave the ANC turned off. For me, that sounded better. When I was listening to the blues or to heavy metal, I turned the ANC back on and it sounded great. Like I said, Sly and the Family Stone, George Clinton, all sound fantastic through these headphones, especially with the active noise canceling turned on. You will not be disappointed. Battery life. Well, it's a 300 milliamp hour battery. Takes about 2 hours to charge it up. They claim about 20 hours, I believe it is, playtime. Well, the first time I charge it right out of the box, I got about 15 hours. And I let them run completely down, okay? Then I charge it completely back up. The second time, I got about 18 hours out of it. Once again, I let the battery run completely out, charge it back up. The third time, I did get around the 19 to almost about, I would say, 21 hours. And of course, a lot of that has to depend upon if you have the active noise canceling on and how loud you have these turned up. Generally, me personally, I like to crank these up all the way and just use my device for volume control, but I decided to do something a little different. And what I did is I kind of turned these about halfway up, maybe a little less than that. And then I used my device turned up all the way. And if it was still too loud, I would turn these down, not the device. And that's how I kind of inked out just about 21 hours of playtime. But remember, that was after the third charge. So if you want the longest runtime you can get out of these, my advice would be, as soon as you get them, charge them up completely first. And either use them right away by putting them on your head, or just setting them down and let them play until they run out. Charge it up again. Do the same thing. And after that third charge, you should probably see a little bit longer playtime out of it. That's just my opinion. Believe me if you want to or not, but it works with just about everything that I find, any headset that I use, where if I charge it up usually around the third time, I start getting the maximum runtime out of my headphones, earbuds, whatever. Well, that pretty much wraps it up about my review, or for my review for the MPow H5 Bluetooth wireless headphones. Honestly, for the price, they are definitely worth getting. Gets my seal of approval. If you don't believe me and you want maybe a second opinion, check up in the corner. You'll see a little link there for El Jefe. He did a review on these as well. Take a listen to his video and then you be the judge. And until the next video, you have a fantastic day.